I glowed up when Tenkaichi came around. And it was the one game where I got to sat in practice, and my cousins come back, and then they be like, "Dang, how you doing all that?" Because while you was out there playing around making money, I was doing what really mattered. I was getting good at these combos. But yeah, so
Wow.
that's I did a video the other day on Instagram, well, on different social medias, where I was talking about some of my five, favorite non-traditional fighting games. Everybody kind of, got on me in the comments like, first of all, Melee was better than Brawl, and two, how you not go put not Project Justice, how you not go put Power Stone in it, man? What's wrong with you? I'm like, bro, look, I didn't say the top five fighting games like non-traditional all time. It's just the ones I played. Like, I didn't feel right putting Power Stone in there when the only thing I remember is just characters running around on a boat from like a bird's eye view. Like, I only played the game like twice, 3 times, but my family would come down from y'all don't care, but I ain't play it a lot. So
Oh, well, I cared. So I mean,
like I ain't
wanted
play
to
it
do
a
the
lot,
same.
so that's why I ain't put it on the list. But everybody was like, "Man, you an uncultured bald head scallywag." So I was like, "All right, look, man, maybe my other two co-hosts will go ahead and put it in their list." So you don't have to do five, but like, what's some of your favorite non-traditional fighting games? Like, not the 2D, not the 3D. The ones that the FGC would consider, bald head stepchildren. So we'll start with you, MC Maze. And what's some of your favorite non-traditional fighting games?
I mean, like, this would be in like no particular order for me, man. I would say off the bat, Naruto Ultimate Ninja, like
That's my dog.
Like as a series, like I thought I'm actually a little sad that they don't really make those games anymore, to be honest with you. Like, it's kind of it's a shame. Man, probably have to say Brawlhalla, I would say. I think like that's a non-traditional fighting game that I think is pretty cool. Um, I think that's a game that you can tell that there's a lot of thought and care put into the game, and it's not really they don't really at least from my point of view, it's not like they're constantly putting themselves out there a whole lot. It's mostly about the work. It always seemed about the product, about making a solid product. So um, I would say like if I had to say another one, I would say maybe like if anybody anywhere has played My Hero Academia, My Hero's Justice, like I played it on the Switch. I thought it was fun, even though it's kind of ridiculous, a little borked in places. I thought it was a pretty cool game. I think that's what I would consider a good non-traditional fighting game. Um, Here's one. This actually shows up underneath fighting. If you look in like on Steam, it shows up under like fighting game categories, which technically it is. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. That 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 is considered, if you look like those, that it's under the fighting game, what's called, like, it's considered a fighting game. My brother says it all the time. He's like, technically this is a fighting game, and you kind of go head to head, and you have like the switch between Tetris and Puyo. It's a fun game. It's a fun game, and you can definitely get the same kind of like competitive drive that you would get in any normal fighting game. um and then I guess my last one would probably be man, mm, I would probably say not like I would say the older Budokai, the Tenkaichi games, like back in the day, like Tenkaichi 2 and Tenkaichi 3, like those games. I liked playing what was it, Super Android 17, because you had the absorption of the orbs and everything like that. You could absorb people's blasts and everything, and I just thought it was a cool looking character in general. Like, I think that character design is awesome, man. And the way that they even though he comes from that show that everybody doesn't like too much, I thought it was all right. I never really understood the immense hate that GT got. I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't like it, but the like this serious, like ridiculous amounts of hate that show gets always kind of went over my head. It's a TV show. What are you gonna do? People write weird stuff all the time. So anyway, those are mine. So yeah, that's it.
I thought you was gonna say Batman Arkham Knight, since technically Steam got that as a fighting game. But maybe Mr. Gamer Lift will say it. Oh, you Mr. Gamer Lift.
Some of the categorization of some of these games nowadays is really interesting. So let me. I got one more to put up there. Actually, yeah. Okay, so the games that I like that are outside of the traditional style of fighting games. First one I had to say is Power Stone. I played that a lot on Dreamcast. Just a fun game in general. It was like the visuals, the style of it, the sounds of it. Running around trying to beat each other up, trying to grab these, which essentially to me were like the Chaos Emeralds, and just transform. Basically, when you transform, the match was almost kind of determined by that. But yeah, it was a pretty fun game. I'm glad to see it come back finally with the Capcom Collection 2, because that game we hadn't seen that game for like forever. I think it had a second game, and that was it. Maybe Capcom, maybe one day they'll make a third one. That's one I enjoyed a lot. Ultimate Ninja, not the Ninja Storm games, but the OG ones on the PS2. I like those a lot. It was like a Smash equivalent kind of for PS2 at the time. They actually did a few games like that for a few series. You had like a Shonen game, I believe, on DS. Like a Shonen Jump All Stars. You had the Ninja Ultimate Ninja games on PS2, and you had Onimusha game, Blade Warriors, which I never played that one. Which was almost a random thing. They made like a Onimusha Smash style game, which was really random. I never got to play it, but I always wanted to. So yeah, that I will put this. This is kind of in between a traditional fighter and an unconventional fighter. JoJo's Battle Royale, All-Star Battle Royale. It's similar, but I think it's different enough. It's like a mix between it's like a 2.5D fighter, like arena fighter kinda, but it's not like you don't have super freedom of movement like you do in games such as like the My Hero games, all the Namco arena fighters. But it's not quite conventional, so I think it would count for this. And I love JoJo. It's like my favorite anime. So yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one. The Ultimate Battle Royale. Smash Melee. I played Melee so much on GameCube. It's probably definitely one of my most played GameCube games. Just trying to get all the trophies, beat the game, get all the stuff in it. Back then, the internet was still new, so we didn't know this certain things were lies, and they got me with that whole April Fool's thing about Sonic and Tails. Like, hey, if you beat 20 of these guys on the hardest difficulty on the like endless man bout or fight or something like that, it's like you'll get Sonic and you'll unlock Tails. And of course, me being a Sonic fan, I was like, what? Sonic and Smash? What? And then I did it and nothing happened. So yeah, sometimes you get got like that. And then later on, it actually happened. Sonic did actually come to Smash Brothers in the next Smash game, ironically. So maybe they was like, hey, we'll give it to you. I don't want to be too long-winded with this. Dissidia, I love Final Fantasy. It's my favorite gaming franchise of all time. Final Fantasy is my favorite game of all time. So if you have a fighting game with Final Fantasy characters, that just makes sense. That's just like it's unfortunately, the last Dissidia that we had was not really received well. It didn't succeed because, again, as we talked about on this podcast, they tried to lead with making it a competitive game, and that ultimately was its demise. So, but I love Final Fantasy. I wish that we can get another Dissidia. I actually want a Final. If we didn't get Marvel Tokon, the people that I was like, hey, we get a fighting game, a Final Fantasy fighting game, I want Arceus to be the one to work on it. I don't know if we'll ever get a traditional Final Fantasy fighting game, but if y'all listening, please. Ergies too, man.
Oh,
for those that know that sound effect, y'all some OGs. I'll say one more. I did like Tenkaichi games. But I'll give a shout out to this one game on Game Boy Advance, Metabots. If y'all remember Metabots, the little game was like a Smash type game. You had like customize your little robots and stuff like that. That was pretty fun for what it was. It was super hard, but it was just fun at the time. So yeah, that's my list of unconventional fighting games that I like. So,
All right, well, it's time for the list that you guys all been waiting for.
I already went.
I just
Exactly,
finished.
they were still waiting because they heard they didn't hear what they wanted to hear. Um,
Okay.
I'm trying to remember this GameCube game, this mech game. I used to play called Custom Robo. I'm
Oh
trying to
wow.
remember, is that like more like I'm trying to remember how I played, because I could have sworn that was kind of like a fighting game, like an arena fighter style game, except with like mechs.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah,
Rex
Yeah,
One
I
a little
believe
bit.
so.
yeah, Custom Robo was an amazing game. I mean, we were playing that till like we was putting cracks in the GameCube controller. You know, they were thick and sturdy, so we was putting in some work. Um, but also another game that I just keep saying that I just don't know why people bring up, Urban Reign, man. Urban Reign was a fantastic game made by Bandai Namco. Had Paul and Law in it. It's basically about this, crime. It's basically a story based around like the crime world and stuff like that. But it was basically like an arena fighter. You got 4 players on the screen at the same time, everybody duking it out, weapons involved and stuff. It's kind of like, I don't remember which one was made first, Def Jam or Urban Reign, but they kind of like have the same feel. But that one actually had like fighting game characters in it, like I said before, Law and Paul, amazing fighting game. And I've seen a couple people like in the comments when I talked about it, shout it out. So y'all got some good taste, y'all some cultured men. Me, I'ma always choose Smash Brothers Brawl over Melee. I understand Melee is an amazing game. I mean, how can you not say it's an amazing game? Look at the run that it's had. But for me personally, like, and for me, it's kind of like the same thing with like the Third Strike and Alpha 3 debate. You could say Third Strike is like Melee, but Alpha 3 is like Brawl. To me, like Alpha 3 and Brawl was like the overall better game. Like when you go with story, gameplay, characters involved, like all that, it just was the better package. Now, am I saying like you might have a more fun time like playing Melee than you would Brawl? I mean, it depends on the person. A lot of people get upset at Brawl because they're tripping in it, but it wasn't never nothing I was tripping over. Like, of course, like, hey, like if it happened to you at that time, you'd be like, dang, I really just lost because I tripped. But I mean, it was more times than not, stuff didn't come down to you tripping, you know. So I feel like I had more fun with Brawl as an overall better packaged game. I mean, searching for the trophies, playing Subspace and Emissary. I mean, they just totally separated Brawl to like a whole other level. Even with the Smash Brothers that's out today. Um, what else? Dang, do I need to go back to the list that I had? Of course, everybody already said like the Naruto Ultimate Ninjas. Around the same time, they had the Clash of the Ninjas out on GameCube. I played both of those. But I really never. My friends was the one who had the GameCube, and I was more so the one who had the PlayStation. So I was more of like an Ultimate Ninja fan. The whole series, I went back. I don't know. Like I looked at Ultimate Ninja 3 and I was like, I don't know, Ultimate Ninja 2 was pretty fly too, man. They kind of like neck and neck. But Ultimate Ninja 3 definitely had way more stuff you could do. What else? Those are really kind of basically about it. I In my list I put like the Teen Titans Battle Blitz, but when I look back over it again, that was kind of like traditional. It's just I kind of put it in non-traditional just because it was like one of the first Flash games, like fighting games I ever played. Like, because back then when AOL, I don't know if y'all young folks know about that. Back in the back in the AOL days, well, if somebody answered the phone call, your computer blew up.
Yeah, you were done.
Yeah, like that was like one of the first things because you was a Cartoon Network kid back then. So you go up Cartoon Network, then they say you got Flash games, Teen Titans Battle Blitz. That game was amazing. Um, what else? Of course, Def Jam. The Def Jam series, Fight for New York, was amazing. One of the games that it was so fun. You kind of just wanted to go in depth with every single character. You wanted to know like how every single one of their specials look, how they play, what their story mode look like. So it's one of those games that truly immerse you. It's the reason why they still play it as CEO till this day. Shout out to Joey Bag of Donuts. So yeah, man. I mean, those kind of like my list. I kind of just thought of that custom robo off the top of my head, but that was a fantastic, fun game. And yeah, that's it for me. I what was my number one spot? My number one spot was Naruto Ultimate Ninja. A lot of people was like, "Man, you crazy? I would have put Budokai or Tenkaichi or something." I agree. You could put that in your list. I could have put, 6, whatever. But I definitely had more fun with Tenkaichi than Budokai. And I'll be honest, I'm one of those people, and some people around here, they'll agree probably, but I'm one of them people. If I got my eyes beat out in the game, I don't think of it too fondly. It don't matter how fun it was. I did, but I glowed up when Tenkaichi came around. So, that was the more fun one for me because I could actually pull out some W's. And it was the one game where I got to sat in practice, and my cousins come back from working with their dad, and then they be like, "Dang, how you doing all that?" Because while you was out there playing around making money, I was doing what really mattered. I was getting good at these combos. But yes,
Wow.
that's it. Anybody else got anything to add?
Uh, I would say an honorable mention for me would be like the Gundam versus games. I would say like they're kind of like Gundam arena battlers. Um, I really like Gundam the anime, some more than others, but I think that the last one that came, I think the one that came out on PS4 like a few years ago was really cool. Mostly, I really liked them. I just gotten back into Gundam because I think Iron Blooded Orphans had come out, and that show was amazing. And they had what's called I think they had Gushan and Barbatos in that one, and man, those what a great show. Just great. Like, and I think they had what's called they put in Kimaris later. I don't know if they ever put in what do you call that? Vidar, the Vidar Gundam. If anybody knows what I'm talking, anybody out there who knows what I'm talking about, you watched Iron Blooded Orphans. Vidar Gundam is the Gundam that was used by my favorite character, Galileo Baldwin. I thought he was a really cool character. I thought his Gundam was the first one was cool, Kimaris, but the Vidar Gundam was super sick, man. If you ever have a chance, just go look up like the way Vidar Gundam looks in that show. It is so cool. Or even better, just watch the show. It's quite good.
I did forget to mention Def Jam. That's definitely one of my favorite more unconventional fighting games. I guess you could say more so a wrestling game. And I guess you could technically put wrestling games or kinda in the fighting game category. But that one, Ergies, again, I'm a FF7 fan. When I was a child, I know it's not the greatest game, but it's one of those games where I played as a child. It was cool because of course it was FF7 based, had some excuse me, had some original characters, some of which looked just like Tekken characters. Had like a little quest mode. Again, another game that I wish that we could get a second one. It hadn't been around in like decades. Another one I just thought about. It just slipped my mind.
You know,
Def Jam, Final Ergies. I just thought about this game.
I just want to say real quickly, you say that Guys wasn't the best game. I would say that you could put Final Fantasy VII in that same category as well.
Sir, from the rest of the podcast, you should turn your mic off. And this would just be me and Rexon
Oh,
for the
oh,
blasphemy
oh,
that you just spit out, sir.
oh. Okay, so would you, real quick, would you say that's the best Final Fantasy game ever made?
7?
Yeah,
Yeah, for me. I
I'm
mean,
talking about in terms of actual quality.
yes.
I know you like it. No, absolutely not.
Man, that game was revolutionary. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't- We get-
It's like I'm have to say I'll probably say the same thing I said about that game that I say about Street Fighter 2.
Nah, bro. I will not accept such blasphemy, man. I'm pretty sure 7 is usually on most people's top list, like the best one.
Yeah, most people are wrong too. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like you right now.
I'm just saying,
like you.
and like you'd be like, yo, man, how you be like? Even the character models aren't better than most of the Final Fantasy games, bro. They look like they're like made of Legos.
People say 6 is the best, so we can't talk about graphics. Some people like 6 the best.
Yeah, but those character models look cool. Like they look
Those
like
character models look cool.
What, in 7? Better than
Yes.
6? At least in 6, like they actually look like little sprites. In 7, they look like, man, we kind of tried. We were kind of like somewhere between 8, 6. It's basically exactly what you would call it. The little space in between 6 and 8. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. The character models in 8 were pretty cool. In 9, 10, 11, and basically every game after that. You know what I mean? Plus, the battle systems were better in basically every game after that. And I don't know, man. I don't know.
Anyway, now that you spit all that blasphemy out, I remembered my other game, Marvel Rise of the Imperfects. An okay game, but it was for what it was at the time, it was pretty cool. It was like a Marvel's like shot at a arena fighter, kind of a dark tone arena fighter. They made some other games like that. I think like on the Wii, I believe. I didn't play those, but I do remember Marvel Rise of the Imperfects. It was just a cool game. I thought like just looked cool, had a cool aesthetic to it. And there was one more I'm forgetting, and I probably won't remember this one. That wrestling game back in the day on Super Nintendo was pretty cool. The one that was basically just like Mortal Kombat, but in the ring, like with wrestling characters. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I think those are the ones I forgot to mention. But yeah, I had to definitely shout out Marvel Rise and the Imperfects.
I'm trying to think. It was a Bleach game that we played on. See, I didn't even want to get into like DS games because we was like trading, mixing, matching like handheld games on the Game Boy and stuff. But it was a Bleach game. I think it's Bleach the Blade of Fate. I was looking trying to see which one it is specific. I think it's Blade of Fate. That was a pretty fun game. Dragon Ball, of course, had tons of like different games on the on the Advance. I don't know. Would you consider Pokemon Stadium a non-traditional fighting game? I mean, it's just turn based, but I mean, you are attacking people. But I ain't gonna go that far. We just gonna put Pokemon Stadium in its own thing because I guess then you could say Pokemon was a fighting game. Pokemon Red was a fighting game.
Supersonic Warriors. I forgot about that one. Dragon Ball Super Z Supersonic
Warriors.
Championship.
What was that game? That Sonic game on the handhelds. What is it called? Sonic Battle.
Sonic Battle. Yeah,
Sonic Battle was fantastic. That was an amazing game on the Game Boy Advance. That was super cool. I played that game a lot. Man, I remember them days you couldn't get your when it got nighttime, you could barely see on the console. Man, but still was up in there finding a way to get some light on it. Still playing.
Was Sonic the Fighters the game that had Knack the Weasel in it?
I believe
I don't even remember.
But I don't remember that game. That game was
yeah, Sonic Battle came out in 2003. Man, that's 20 years ago. God,
yeah, man.
Yep.
Let me stop looking up games. But yeah, so we can move on to the next topic if nobody